It's hard to believe Sonic Generations is almost 13 years old at the time of recording. Despite how divided this fandom can be, most of us generally agree that Sonic Generations is a really good game. Unfortunately, its story is incredibly lacking. Luckily, Sonic X Shadow Generations promises to modify some of the dialogue to be a little bit more interesting, but even at that, I'm confident in saying that the story will for the most part stay intact. So, before the game releases with the new Shadow portion added on, I thought it'd be interesting to give my rewrite of the base Generations game. This obviously won't be taking into account Shadow Generations, as I will be rewriting the base version of the game from 2011. But I think I should set some ground rules before we start. From a gameplay and level perspective, I will be leaving Sonic Generations relatively intact. Modern Sonic will have the boost gameplay from that era, classic Sonic will play identically to how he does in Generations, and they are the only two playable characters. I will also be keeping all the level areas and boss fights intact. Sure, there are some levels in this game that baffle me on how they made the cut, I'm looking at U-Speed Highway, but I think they are all decent choices, and since they aren't too important for the story of this game, I will be leaving them as is. Beyond that, any gameplay changes I do end up making will be to support the narrative, and I will dive into as we go along. Beyond that, this is purely a narrative rewrite. And as a final note, I just want to say this now so there's no confusion. Yes, Classic Sonic can talk in my rewrite. Literally every other classic character can talk, so it makes no sense he couldn't. So, with all else out of the way, let's jump right into Sonic Generations Rewritten. Sonic Generations starts with Green Hill Act 1, where you play as Classic Sonic. Upon passing the goalpost and getting your ranking, the screen fades to black as we reopen with a cutscene reminiscent of the ending for Sonic 1, but in CGI. Classic Sonic runs to the heart of Green Hill before unveiling the 6 Chaos Emeralds. Getting these Chaos Emeralds was way too easy. Robotnik should stay home next time. The emeralds begin to glow when suddenly the entire island shakes. A massive purple portal erupts in the sky. Classic Sonic looks up in awe as the Chaos Emeralds are dragged in. A familiar ho 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 comes from the portal as a sudden blast wave fades Sonic and the world around him into a white void. The hands of time move forward as we cut to present day at Tails' workshop in the Mystic Ruins. A bunch of Sonic's friends were setting up balloons and streamers for some celebration. Amy Rose, Knuckles the Echidna, Rouge the Bat, Cream the Rabbit, Charmy Bee, Vector the Crocodile, Espio the Chameleon, Silver the Hedgehog, Blaze the Cat, and even Shadow the Hedgehog along with Big the Cat managed to show up. Yet strangely, Sonic and Tails seemed to be absent. But that wouldn't be for long. Tails quickly flew over, telling everyone, "He's coming!" Everyone got into position as the Blue Blur himself raced onto the scene. "Hey guys, what's going on?" In unison, everyone turned around, proclaiming, "Surprise!" Except for Shadow, of course. The gang had set up a surprise party for Sonic's birthday. Everyone gave Sonic their congratulations. Amy went in for a tackle hug, which Sonic begrudgingly allowed. Knuckles gave some banter, and Shadow gave a respectful smile. After all, no words were needed. The party was in full swing, everyone was having a grand old time. And as everyone else was socializing, Sonic and his best bud Tails walked into the main laboratory. Tails wanted to give Sonic his present personally. A scrapbook featuring some of their greatest adventures, and the Cyan Chaos Emerald. Tails said the emerald could be useful for their next great adventure, which they could start as soon as the party's over. Sonic was delighted with this. He was never the type to stick around in one place anyway. Though neither of them could have predicted how soon the next adventure would begin. As Sonic and Tails stepped back out into the party, things seemed strangely quiet. The wind didn't blow and the waves didn't rock. It was as if it was all frozen somehow. That was when suddenly, a massive purple portal erupted in front of Tails' workshop. A pair of arms clouded in black mist pulled the portal open further. Whatever was on the other side gave out a roar. The heroes, though confused, stood their ground before suddenly feeling weightless. One by one, they were quickly dragged into the portal into parts unknown. Sonic was shocked, but he quickly jumped into action. Hey, not cool! Sonic ran up towards the monster, air boosting towards it, only to be effortlessly smacked aside. Sonic was launched back into Tails' lab, colliding into the scrapbook. Sonic was knocked out, with pictures of his past landing all across him, as the world faded into white. As Sonic's eyes slowly reopened, he felt a great pain. It was as if he had been sleeping for decades, or rather the opposite. He couldn't quite put his finger on the sensation. Regardless, the hedgehog quickly got up onto his feet and tried looking around to get his bearings, only to find there was very little to be seen. Surrounding Sonic was a white void of sand, seemingly going on forever. Sonic wasn't sure where he was or how he got here, but if there was even a chance his friends could be somewhere in this white space, then he would do everything in his power to find them. Sonic ran forward for what felt like an eternity, yet feeling as if he didn't make any progress, before eventually he finally saw some structures in the distance. They shared an eerie resemblance to the iconic landmarks of South Island, yet these green hills were without any color or life. Sonic wasn't sure why they were here or how they were even here, but they were the first clue he had had since he entered this world. So with a confident smirk, Sonic raced forward, heading into Green Hill Zone, Act 2. With Sonic in such a rush, he didn't notice a pale statue standing outside the zone with an eerie resemblance to the blue hedgehog. Though, as the taller Sonic returned from Green Hill, not finding his friends, the statue suddenly regained its color, and the two hedgehogs were caught quite off guard as they encountered their double.
Just who the heck are you supposed to be? What? Don't tell me you don't know who I am. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, the world's most famous hedgehog, in fact. And I wouldn't be surprised if you stole my fashion sense.
Kid, I think you're mistaken. I'm the real Sonic.
Yeah, whatever you want to tell yourself, Grandpa.
Grandpa? I'm barely older than... whatever. Once more, modern Sonic looked out into the distance. This time, he could see what appeared to be the old chemical plant from West Side Island. Another location from his past? What could this all mean? Well, there was only one way to find out.
Hey, Mini-Me, how about a friendly competition? First one around the chemical plant wins? Now you're speaking my language, old man. Old man? Okay, bring it on.
Modern Sonic boosted off into the distance, leaving classic Sonic shocked in the dust.
Beginner's luck.
After both Sonics complete their run through the chemical plant, modern Sonic finds himself nearby another statue, a pale silhouette of Tails. As Tails wakes up, Sonic is relieved to see his old friend is safe. Sonic catches Tails up on what's been going on. Strange. I'm guessing wherever we are must have something to do with that creature that kidnapped us.
Yeah, that's my guess as well. The important thing is, how do we get out of here? And how do we find everyone else?
Well, it seems running through the zones has helped so far. I'd say keep doing that until we have a better plan.
Hey, works for me.
So, where's that mini-you?
Now that you mention it, I would have sworn he'd show up by now. Hope he's doing okay.
We cut to classic Sonic, still in the chemical plant zone, only just finishing his level.
Who's that big guy think he is? Pretending he's me? Me? Ha! There's only one real Sonic.
As if on cue, another one of those strange purple wormholes appeared in front of Classic Sonic. The young hedgehog looked inside. He saw a series of green highways highlighted with pink lights, but the sun was blocked out by pollution, and there was a heinous smell in the air. As if this futuristic city didn't look bad enough, a blue figure suddenly came racing out of the wormhole like a bat out of hell. This Metal Sonic tackled the real Sonic to the ground.
Yeah, I've had it up to here with imposters today.
Classic Sonic prepared to fight off his doppelganger, when suddenly he heard someone cry out for help on the other side of the portal. Never being the type to leave someone hanging, Classic Sonic leaped into the wormhole with Metal Sonic in hot pursuit. This transitions us into the first rival battle of the game, where you race Metal Sonic through Stardust Speedway. The battle will play out mostly as it did in the original version of Generations, but with one tiny alteration. During the final phase of the boss fight, when Metal Sonic activates his maximum overdrive, the attack will be a one-hit KO, and your only chance to beat him is to beat Metal Sonic to the end of the freeway, where you can press a button and slam a door right in his face. Upon the machine's defeat, it dropped a green Chaos Emerald. Classic Sonic picked up the gemstone, but as he turned around, he noticed something he hadn't before. Standing in the cage with him was a statue of a female hedgehog, devoid of all color. Though, before long, her quills and dress were pink and red once more. For but a moment, she believes that this is her Sonic and goes in for a tackle hug, before quickly realizing something is a bit off. Classic Sonic is annoyed being compared to his older counterpart once more, but he lets it slide. Before long, another purple portal appears, allowing both of them to return to white space. As Amy resends that hug to her darling Sonic, Tails finally gets to interact with Classic Sonic. And that's when a giant purple portal swallowed me up. It was way past uncool. Fascinating. A similar thing happened with us, but why did it go after you? Heck if I know. It was only then Classic Sonic noticed Miles' extra tail. So, got two tails. That's pretty neat. Never seen someone like that. Wait, you haven't met me yet? Am I supposed to have? Guess not. Tails decided to take note of that. In the distance, the two Sonics could see a new structure forming. It resembled that of Sky Sanctuary Zone. After completing their respective acts and freeing Knuckles, they discovered a strange gear-shaped portal gate. Upon entering, they found themselves within the Death Egg. After a brief tussle with the old silver rendition of Mecha Sonic, Classic and Modern Sonic found themselves in the main hub. Be careful, Mini-Me. Last time I destroyed that hunk of junk, the boss wasn't that far away.
Heh, you mean Robotnik? What's the worst his little toys can do this time?
Suddenly, the ground began to shake as a massive red and yellow machine emerged from the floor.
Ho 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 ho! I think you'll find my latest creation is more than enough to deal with you, you annoying little...
The doctor paused.
Wait, two Sonics?
Modern Sonic smirked. And so what if there are? Is that an issue for you, Eggman? Classic Sonic snickered. He only wished he'd come up with the insult himself. Though, in a way, he did. The doctor, on the other hand, had a very different response.
How dare you! I am Dr. Robotnik, the greatest scientific genius in the world!
Weird. Been a while since you've taken offense to that nickname. Whoa! The Death Egg robot swung its arm, nearly crushing the two hedgehogs.
Enough! It's time to put an end to your insolence.
Now, I would like to pause the story to acknowledge possibly the most controversial change I will be making to Sonic Generations. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I want to leave the gameplay of Generations relatively intact, but the boss fights are the one thing I will be changing. as unlike the rival battles where you only play as either classic or modern Sonic, in the boss fights, you'll play as both of them. Not only does this make both Sonics feel equally valued, but that means there will be a more even split between their boss fights, instead of classic Sonic only having 2 battles and modern Sonic having double that. Besides, there will still be the rival battles and the occasional mission mode where you go up against one of Sonic's friends to give you a one-on-one boss experience. However, this fight plays out relatively similar to how it does in the base game. Classic Sonic has to avoid being crushed by the Death Egg robot and counterattack when he gets a chance. Modern Sonic, on the other hand, has to trick Robotnik into hitting bombs to stun the robot. Once the machine is vulnerable, modern Sonic can grind up his arm and perform a deadly homing attack on the cockpit. As the machine lays destroyed, the Doctor pokes out of the top, and much to modern Sonic's surprise, this isn't the modern Dr. Eggman, but the classic Dr. Robotnik.
You ruin everything, you little.
Before he can finish his thought, a purple portal appears behind the Doctor, with a massive dark monster standing within. Robotnik begins to panic.
Sonic, both of you, please, save me now.
Both Sonics rolled their eyes. Alright, I don't like the Doc very much, but hand him over now, before things get ugly. Though, it looks like he might already be there, chump. Then, the two hedgehogs noticed what almost appeared to be a cockpit on top of the monster's back. It quickly clicked open.
I think you'll find you're in no room to negotiate, hedgehogs.
Though classic Sonic was quite confused by this second figure, modern Sonic knew exactly who this was.
Dr. Eggman? The one and only. Well, I suppose that isn't so true anymore, but that's besides the point.
The older Doctor pressed a button on his Eggmobile. An electric shock was sent throughout the monster, causing it to shriek. The shockwave from its booming voice knocked the two Sonics back. The Doctor cackled, seeing his mortal enemy writhe on the ground.
Ho ho ho! I would love to finish it here, but I'm afraid I'm on a very tight schedule. It takes a lot of planning to become the master of time.
Eggman then turned to his past counterpart.
Come now, me. We have much to discuss.
An enthusiastically wicked grin came across the young Doctor's face.
We most certainly do.
The shattered remains of the Death Egg robot were scooped up by the monster, and then, in a flash of light, it and the Doctors disappeared back into the portal, leaving behind only a blue Chaos Emerald. The Sonics slowly came to their feet. Modern Sonic groaned. Great, another time travel adventure. Wait, another? What kind of stuff do you get up to anyway? Hey, you'll get up to it soon enough, kid. Okay, we should go back and meet up with Tails. He'll probably know what to do from here. But, know what to do? And you pretend you're me. I already know what we should be doing. Running right after that monster and kicking his sorry butt. Trust me, I'd love nothing more than to scramble that Eggman wide open. But, there you are, trying to make things complicated. It's pretty simple. I'll go fast, kick some robot, and get some chili dogs while I'm at it. But hey, if you want to be scratching your noggin all day while I do all the hero work, I won't be complaining. I remember things were that simple. They still are. You're just okay, if it's that simple, why'd he leave us a Chaos Emerald? Well, look, Mini-Me, you don't know Eggman like I do. I hate to admit it, but he's played me for a fool once or twice. And if you run after him without a plan, well, you got fool written all over you. Fine. Let's go meet up with your friends. Our friends? Fine, whatever. Look, this conversation's way past uncool, man. I got a need for speed, so let's go meet up with your friends so I can get back at it. Now you're starting to speak my language. And with that, another purple portal appeared, allowing the Sonics to race back into white space. And that's what we got for now. Sorry, I hate to divide this into parts, but To get the story across in the way intended, we need the extra video time. In this part, we had to do a lot of the build-up, but don't worry, the next part should be a little bit more snappy. But until next time, I hope you have a good day.